example, kaning dy over dt is equal to ay plus b. So this is what we will consider a first order linear equation where a and b are constants. And this will be the basic form for our first order linear differential equations. So what we mean by separable, we mean we can separate certain functions into one part or another. So an example of this is we have a class of equations mx. We have a class of equations m within the range of x to y, and then we have n, a function of n with a range of x to y, dy over dx. But what if we have a certain function where m is a function of x only and n is a function of y only? So we can change this equation into a simpler form. So let's say we can substitute this into mx plus ny times dy over dx, or derivative is equal to 0. Such an equation is said to be separable because if it is written in the differential form, pwede nato ni siya i-bungkag. So, ang pagbuhat lang din ani is, since we have mx plus ny dy over dx is equal to 0, pwede nato ni siya multiply all sides by dx. If we do this, mag-cancel out ang dx dire, and multiply ang dx dire sa mx. So we're left with mx dx plus ny dy. And so, di ba previously, derive nato ang differential equation para makuha nato ang, or whether to verify if solution siya or dili. So for here is, we will not be doing that. Instead, we'll be integrating the equation so that we can arrive at the general solution. So if I remember mo ani, we have mx dx. So para mawala ang dx, ato ni siya i-integrate ning aside. And for ny dy, we can integrate this para mawala ang dx o dy. And then we'll be left with the general solution by simplifying the equation after. So let's have an example real quick. Let's say, can you show that equation dy over dx is equal to x squared over 1 minus y squared is separable, and then find an equation for its integral curves. So how can we tell if it's separable? Now, ang atong kailangan i-note is to determine whether the equation is separable, kani ang iyang written form, which is mx dx plus ny dy is equal to 0. So based off of this, how do we check if separable ba siya? So to do this, ako sa i-butang sa side. And then I'll use the black screen para ma-verify na to. Okay, so we have the equation. We have dy over dx is equal to x squared over 1 minus y squared. Now, to try and simplify this, or to try and see if makuha siya, if it is a separable equation, so ato they try separate ang dy over dx. So let's say multiply both sides by dx. Mawala ni siya. We get dy is equal to x squared dx over 1 minus y squared. And ato na yun, i-osa ang mga like term. So i-osa nato ang dy sa y and then ang x to dx. So since na siya sa ubos, we can multiply both sides by 1 minus y squared. Mawala ni siya. So we are left with 1 minus y squared. We have 1 minus y squared dy is equal to x squared dx. Now, ang atong separable equation is mx dx plus medyo di siya klaro. Ako ikon. So you have m of x dx plus n of y dy is equal to 0. So if ato ni siya try kuha, we can simplify this by saying we have negative x. Oh wait, we can say this is transpose nato ni. We have negative x squared dx plus 1 minus y squared dy is equal to 0. So based off of this, we can say our mx is equal to negative x squared, and we can say our function ny is equal to 1 minus y squared. So since we're able to separate this into this separable equation, so we can say that this equation is separable. So to solve a separable equation, we have to integrate the functions of m and n. So ako na ni i-limpyo kaya medyo taas na yun siya. Yan lang. And then we have our mx, which is negative x squared dx plus 1 minus y squared dy is equal to 0. So again, to solve for this, we can integrate both. So we can integrate the functions. So we have integrate and integrate. So to integrate this, we could say this is negative x3 over 3 plus integral of dy, that's y minus y, this is y cubed over 3 is equal to 0. So for this, we could try and simplify this equation. So to try and simplify this, we could say multiply both terms by 3. So we're left with negative x cubed plus 3y minus y cubed is equal to 0. Now again, there's also one thing that we need to note before I forget. Whenever we integrate, we also have to remember na naay arbitrary constant or c. So we could say na there is a picas or there's other side. You could say this is c and c. There's mga atong arbitrary constant since every time we integrate natay additional na c na ginabilin nato. So with this, we could say na this will be our general solution for this differential equation. Now, mao ni ang medyo sayon na part. Napo mo question so far?
Sir nga na, okay na siya, sir.
Unsa wala na
Nganong na-try siya, sir?
kaning dire.
Sir.
Ang nabilan man nato sa equation is x cubed over 3, y cubed over 3 equal to c, or let's say equal to equal to c. Para mawala nato ning value or para mawala ning denominator, ato i-multiply ang equation by 3. So kaning atong c, mihimo siya og 3c. Or we could say na since arbitrary constant ni siya, we could also say na c1 is equal to 3c. So kaning 3 is para lang mag-cancel out or para ma-remove nato ang denominators below sa x cube o sa y cube.
Okay, sir, nga, ano na, kwan siya, sir, na x cube siya, sir.
Gi-integrate nato.
Okay,
Kaning
sige.
dire. So kana lang i-review lang nato ang integration. So pag-integrate nato ang x squared, we get x cubed over 3. Pag-integrate nato sa dy, may mabilin kay y. And pag-integrate nato sa y squared, we're left with y cubed over 3.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sige. Na po may other questions? Kay so far mao ni ang medyo sayon-sayon pa. Pero so far mo follow man ka. Sige, so kung wala questions, ato ni i-review again with a different problem para makuha ninyo idea of our integration in terms of our differential equations. Sige, so makuha sa ako ang isa ka example na ako. Uh, ayun, sa ganun. Kanina lang isa. So let's say we'll try to find the differential equation of this. We have y prime is equal to, we have x squared minus 4, 3y plus 2. Now, ang question ani is, we'll be finding the general solution to the differential equation using the method of separation of variables. So, what can we notice from here is nagamit taog y prime. Ato dayon i-remember ang atong y prime is equal to dy over dx. Or ang yung denominator, unsay yung other variable na present sa equation. So if we try to simplify this, we could say this is dy over dx is equal to x squared minus 4 and then 3y plus 2. So to get this, we can multiply both sides by dx. Or mag-cancel out ni. So we're left with dy is equal to x squared minus 4 and then 3y plus 2 dx. Here again, we also have dy's other side, and we also have y present sa right side. So ato din siya i-try og divide by 3y plus 2. So mag-cancel out ni siya. We're then left with dy over 3y plus 2 is equal to, we have x squared minus 4 dx. So now that we're left with this, pagbalhin nato sa pika sa side, so ato ni parenthesis, kung ato ni siya balhin sa pika sa side, we're able to get the equation of mx dx plus ny dy is equal to 0. So para dali, we can also start solving for the equation at this point. So ako to na erase and then i-redraw na yun ako dali sa taas. So again, kanina differential equation, we can derive na 3y plus 2 dy is equal to x squared minus 4 dx. So again, for separation of variables, atong button is i-integrate nato ang functions of mn, of mx, and ny. So for this, we could integrate here and integrate here, and then try to solve. Gadget lang class. Nananawag gadget. Sorry, nananawag. Asa ko. So we'll be integrating both sides. So if you remember mo sa inyong integration, ang kaning 3y plus 2, pwede natin siya i-substitute. to a value, let's say u, para masolve nato ni siya og medyo dali. Especially since it's 1 over dy plus 2. So we say this, we could say u is equal to 3y plus 2. And we can say du is equal to 3 dy. So if we substitute these values, we can change this equation into integral of du over u. Since atong du is equal to 3y, natay 3 dire. So kailangan nato ipagawas, kailangan nato ni i-cancel out ang 3. So para ma-cancel out aning 3 para sa aning equation, we could multiply the first integral by 1/3. Okay, once man 1/3 siya, ibalik nato siya to y, ma-cancel out nato ang 3, ang 1/3 og 3. So we could say 1/3 over du over u is equal to the integral of x squared minus 4 dx. Sige, so small review. Unsay integral of du over u? Na naka-remember ani? Or wala na? Sige, so if alat lang sir. Wala ka pa ni. So if ato ni gamit ang identity sa integration, we can say na du over u is also ln of the value of u. So we could say this is 1/3 ln absolute value of u is equal to, so ato ni siya integrated, so we get x3 over 3 minus 4x. And then we can change this value into 1/3 ln absolute value of, atong value of u is 3y plus 2. So we have 3y plus 2. And then equals to, same gap one, we have x to the 3 over 3 minus 4x. So one way now we can solve for the general solution is two ways. If mo remember mo ganina, katong equation na mark x cube minus 3y plus minus y cube is equal to 0. So kanisha, ay C di ini. Or C. So this is one way to simplify the equation, or we can try and simplify it into a way na let's assume na negative x3 or transpose natin x. Let's say this is 3y minus y cube is equal to x cube plus c. We could say y is equal to 3 minus y squared is equal to x cubed plus c. And then we could say y is equal to 3 minus y squared x squared x cubed plus c. So we could also say now this is also the general solution. So the general solution can be one of two things. And then at best is we try to simplify it as much as possible. So pwede equation lang gid siya. Or we could say y is equal to a certain value, which is, for this example, x cubed plus c over 3 minus y squared. Or the other way around. Pero since lisa kay siya magkuha og x only, since na x cube, ato pa siya a cube root, pwede nato siya i-diretso og y. So for example, sa aning na integrate nato, natay ln 3y plus 2 and then natay x cubed minus 4x. So we can try and simplify this by simplifying the terms and then making it into y equals a certain equation. So again, there are two ways. Whatever is mas dali sa inyo. Pero if ever pwede ninyo ma-simplify ang equation, it's best na ma-simplify ninyo. So, ako sa ni erase. So since we have that example in mind, let's see if we can try and simplify this a bit smaller. So if you look at the equation, we have 1/3 ln of the absolute value of 3y plus 2 plus x cubed minus 3 minus 4x. So one way we can try and simplify this, we could multiply both sides. Oh, wait, no, it's any. Change your color. Wait lang. I'm gonna change Venetia. Okay na. We can multiply both sides by 3 para ma-simplify na to. Makawala ning 1/3 na to. And then let's say, ato move siya dire. We could say the new equation will be ln absolute value of 3y plus 2 is equal to x cubed minus 3 times 4 is 12x. Now, since we are able to arrive at this, ang atong next question is, how do we remove the ln absolute value, or at least the value of ln? Kaya remember pa mo, unsa ni siya i-eliminate or unsa ni siya i-wala ang ln sa equation? Sige, so for a refresher, ang atong ln, pwede pa siya mahimo og log, pero wala tay base number. So if wala tay base number, mahimo siya ln pag integrate. So para mawala ang ln sa equation, what we can do is we can exponent the entire equation, or erase, or by exponent I mean ibutang ng equation, and then we raise, and then erase nato siya to a value of e, which is the exponent. So we could say, in term, we say e raised to the value of ln uh, 3y plus 2 is equal to e raised to plus c din, guys. Okay, so now I know limot, guys. So before ani, plus c. Di nato ni siya dapat malimtan. So again, you try not to multiply by 3. So we're left with plus 3e. 3e. 3c. But we know that 3c is a arbitrary constant. So we could try and substitute this value of 3c to the value of, let's say, c1. Since it also represents an arbitrary constant. So we could say for this one, we get e raised to x cubed minus 12x plus c1. So e raised to ln, we can cancel this out, and then it brings down our value of 3y plus 2, but in an absolute value. So that we can say this is the absolute value of 3y plus 2 is equal to e raised to x cubed minus 12. So we could copy this, e raised to x cubed minus 12x. Since ang atong arbitrary constant kay walay x, pwede nato siya i-separate, pero ma-multiply nila with each self, since gi-add man siya sa exponent dapit. So we can say this is e raised to c1. Since e raised to c1 can also be an arbitrary constant, we could say e raised to c1 is equal to the value of c2. So by doing this, we can simplify this by saying the absolute value of 3y plus 2 is equal to c2 e raised to x cubed minus 12x. Now, another thing we can do with c2 is, para mawala ni absolute value, we could say na the other equation is a positive negative value. Para mawala nato ning absolute value. But since ang plus minus na value, you multiply siya with these two factors na mo affect po siya within each other, we could substitute the value of of this of atong c raised to c1 to positive negative e raised to c1 is equal to c2. If we do this, we can eliminate the absolute value here, and we're left with kanina equation. So with this, we can simplify this a bit more. We can transpose 2 to the other side and then divide the terms by 3. So if we were to do this, we would arrive at the general solution now. Y is equal to negative 2 plus C2 e raised to x cubed minus 12x over the value of 3, where this will be our new, or this will be our general solution for the differential equation through separable variables. So far na may questions or medyo nakalimot na gamay. Kanya topic is going to be more on integration na dayon, or going back and forth between integration and derivation. So sa kaning point, may questions or so far makuha ra? Um, Depende ra gyud siya sa equation. Mo na easy na mga equations katong ganina and then ay medyo taas-taas na inani. There are ways na medyo mas dali siya i-try og solve. Pero lisod po siya i-explain og tarong kay short dili shortcut pero like na ay easier way na mag-solve. Kaya again, sa akong class is when abot na sa mga quiz, seatworks, assignment, or sa willing ko mo accept na kaning inyong answer. Pero as much as possible, and mohatag yun ko extra points ana, is if ma-simplify gid ninyo to the easiest solution. Kay kasagara is mao gini ang general solution gid mismo. But again, depende gud siya sa equations. Ay uban equations para sa last example na dali ra siya. Na examples po na para sa ani na medyo taas-taas gud siya. So medyo diri kita mag-jump from atong previous topics to kani. So warning, I did warning per like heads up lang daan. Moving forward, taas gini mga solutions nato sa DE. Like mura ginani siya kataas. There's another topic I'll be covering regarding this, which is magdugang pataog space ani. But for now is mao ni ang more general concept lang so far. Mm. So kana lang ang inyo lang yun is i-review sa din yung integrations, ang rules of integration and inyong differential calculus. So na may other questions or clarifications sa aning topic? Sige. So with this being a separable equation or separable variable, this is solving for the general solution. What if we're given a certain value, let's say an interval point where y at x is equal to a certain value, now let's say a. This means that instead of it being a general solution, we're looking for a particular solution. Okay, we're going to be finding it at a certain interval point where y at a point x is equal to a certain value, or x is equal to, let's say, 0 and y is equal to 1. When it comes to this, if we're solving for an initial value problem, we'll be solving for the value of our arbitrary constant, and then ato na siya ibalik sa equation nato. So, lisa siya i-explain, pero let's try and solve another equation, but this time that involves that involves a interval problem. So let's say erase nato ni. So kaniya medyo kapoy lang guys. Taasas kining mga solutions ani. Pero since dili kay ni major ninyo, di sana ko ni siya ilisod kaayo. Pero ang ako lang is makakuha lang ninyo ang core concepts lang yun. Kay importante gini siya later on. Say erase and then mutubag sa utawag ka chat guys. Balik sa ako kadali guys na natawag sa ako. 5 minutes lang. So so for our next example, let's say we have an equation y prime is equal to 2x plus 3, y squared minus 4, and then we have the initial value of y at 0 is equal to negative 1. Now, naay medyo dili siya shortcut pero naay quick formula para ani. But we need to know certain values. So ang atong quick solution or quick equation ani is we can say the integral of dy over ny is equal to the integral of m of x times d of x. Now to do this, we need to know if the equation is separable. So an example of this is we can tell na separable ng equation since y prime is equal to dy over dx. Pwede nato i-transpose ang dx to the other side. And then pwede nato i-divide both sides by the value of y para mahimo siya og dy over the value of y or the value of ny. So since we know this is an since we know this is a separable equation, we could say na kaning 2x plus 3 can be our m of x, and kaning y squared minus 4 can be our ny. So para maklaro lang nato we could say m of x is equal to 2x plus 3, and then our ny is equal to y squared minus 4. Now, also one thing we need to account for is we need to remember this is an initial value problem. So we'll be looking for a specific or a particular solution for this equation. So let's say we have the y at 0 is equal to -1. So what this means is we have a value of x is equal to 0. And if x is equal to 0, ang value nato sa y is -1. So again, this will be important later on. So ito lang sa ni siya i-note. Okay, so next. So again, we have our values of mx and ny. So we could try and simplify this by saying the integral of dy over atong ny is y squared minus 4 is equal to the integral of 2x plus 3 dx. So that we have this. So now we have our ny, or we have our first integration to the left side, which is dy over y squared minus 4. Now, an easy way to evaluate this is we can say na this is a specific, it's not specific, but it's an equation that we can simplify by using partial fractions. And what I mean by this is, if you can remember most of partial fractions, we can say na 1 over y squared minus 4 is equal to, we have the value of 4, which is usually the value nasa pinaka left. So we could say 1/4. And then we have different values of y minus 2, y minus 2, and y plus 2. So with this partial fractions decomposition, we can achieve this 1 over y squared minus 4 can be simplified or broken down into 1/4 times 1 over y minus 2 minus 1 over y plus 2. So we can substitute this value to our value here. So we could say, so since 1/4 man siya, pwede natin siya ipagawas. We could say this is 1/4 integral of, we have y minus 2 over 1 minus y plus 2 over 1 dy is equal to, something siya i-erase na yun. So we have the integral of 2x plus 3 dx. So with this, same thing happened as before. We have 1 over y minus 2. We could say y minus 2 and y plus 2 is a value of u and v, where atong u is y minus 2 and atong v is y plus 2. So kung ato ni siya derive, we have du is equal to, derive nato, we have 1, and dv is equal to 1. So since 1 nato ni siya, we can cancel this out pag substitute nato. Since katong ganina is, let's say ganina kay 3, ato na siya gi-divide by 3 para ma-cancel out siya. Since 1 man ni siya, di nato ni siya kailangan i-cancel out. So we can automatically say na du is equal to 1, dv is equal to 1. And para maka shortcut na gamay, we could also say this equation will become 1/4 times ln of the absolute value of y minus 2 minus ln the absolute value of y plus 2. With this, we can then integrate the other side, which is 2x squared over 2 plus 3x. So, pwede natin siya i-cancel. Pwede natin siya i-dito na. Mahimo siya og x squared. So, at the very base of it all, after integration, mao ni ang ma-achieve nato na equation. Pero kailangan din nato ni siya i-simplify more. Ay, nanibadi ko og plus c. Pero kailangan pa natin ni siya i-simplify even more. So, para mag-content nato, at this point, na po may questions regarding unsay process nato previously. Or na may gusto i-clarify or na po yung part na nawala mo or anything. Sige, so kung wala, ato na yun siya i-proceed. So since we have 1/4 ln y minus 2 minus ln y plus 2 is equal to x squared plus 3x plus c, ato din siya i-try og simplify ang equation. So since natin 1/4 dire, we could multiply both sides by 4. So we have 4, 4. The equation can then be ln of y minus 2 minus ln of y plus 2 is equal to, we have 4x squared plus 4 times 3, that's 12x plus 4c. Or we could say na c1 is equal to 4c. Since arbitrary constant, or gapon siya. Arbitrary constant would ni siya. So before anything else, so I want to see if napuwi remember. Unsay atong buhaton sunod ani? Or napatay way na mas-simplify nato ni?
Katong sir.
Pwede nato ni siya i or na ay one more way before nato ni siya i raise to e. Sige, so small review. If naatay 2 ln absolute values minus each other, unsay identity ani na para mahimo siya og different value or different na identity. So example, sa aning equation nato, we have ln of y minus 2 minus ln of y plus 2. What can we do sa aning part na ma-simplify nato ang equation? Sa kanilang na part. If maka-remember pa mo. Sige, so again, we have ln minus ln. So di ba para mahimo siya og or para mawalang ln, ato i-raise to the exponent. Since gina-raise na to the exponent ng ln, we could, if we remember my identity, if ln minus ln, we can substitute this value, or we can turn this into the equation of ln absolute value of y minus 2 over y plus 2 equal to 4x squared plus 12x plus c1. Kaya remember po mani na if we minus ninyong ln, pwede ninyo i-combine ang variables inside per i-divide lang nimo, and then if mag-add kag ln, i-multiply ninyo ang duha ka value inside. So kana, since we're able to do this, so erase na ako ni sa taas, kaya I think medyo nakuha na nato ni siya erase. So since natin ln, giulso na tong ln, then 4x squared minus 12x plus the value of c. Pwede rin ta mabuhat o katong ganina. Pwede na to i-exponate. So we can exponate this. So we could say, pilit lang, Berg. Jit lang guys. Kay Berg na load akong okay. Napako. Okay, napa. But we could say that this is okay. Tama. So we say E is equal to ln of y minus 2 over y plus 2 is equal to e raised to 4x squared plus 12x plus c1. So again, e raised to ln, we can cancel this. So we could say this is the absolute value of y minus 2 over y plus 2 is equal to, we have e. So we could say this is e raised to 4x squared plus 12x. Since we have e raised to c1, we could also say c2 is equal to e raised to c1. So we could say this is c2. Now another way we could do this, para madali, we have, since ang atong exponent e raised to 4x squared plus 12x, multiply nato by c2, and then on the other side we have an absolute value, we could erase the absolute value and change this to positive negative value of e raised to c1. Pero mao na atong c2. So we're not yet done, pero I think at this point is mas dali ni siya kwaon ang kuan. So we won't simplify just yet. Ato dahil pangitaon ang value of C2. Since ang question is what is the particular solution with a initial value of x at 0 is equal to negative 1, or x is equal to 0 and y is equal to negative 1. So to do this, ato dahil i-buhat same as last time, katong nag-solve taog for the value of the arbitrary constants. But since we have one unknown, we can substitute the values of x and y to try and solve for C2. So, okay, pwede na ako ni erase ang lower part. Okay ra?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sige. So, dili lang na ako, sa kaning step ko substitute kay mao ni ang pinaka-simplified for substitution. Pero dili pa siya ang final answer para sa general solution. So for this, we could say y is equal to negative 1. We could say negative 1 minus 2 over negative 1 plus 2 is equal to e raised to 4 0 squared plus 12 times 0 and then c2. So again, 4 times 0, that's 0. 12 times 0 is 0. And then e raised to 0, kaya mahimo siya og 1. And then on the other side, so we can say this is C2. Did into left side, we have negative 1 minus 2, that's negative 3, over negative 1 plus 2, which is 1. So that will become negative 3 over 1, which means we could say our C2 is, our atom value of C2 is negative 3. So this will then be our arbitrary constant na C2, or we could also say overall kay C. Now we can say overall ni siya nga value of C, since kung i-derive nato later on, mawala ang value sa C. Kaya again, if we derive a value na wala siya x or y, mahima siya automatically og 1 or 0. So for this, we have the value of C2. So we can erase this. And then from here, we can try and simplify the equation para makuha nato ang general equation or general solution. Once natin general solution with C2, we can substitute the value of C2 para makuha nato ang particular solution. So, medyo taas din siya. So, I'll do this step by step. So y minus 2 over y plus 2 is equal to e raised to 4x squared plus 12x times c2. So to try and simplify this, we could multiply both sides by y plus 2 para ma-cancel out nato ni. So we're left with y minus 2 is equal to, we have, we have yc2 e raised to 4x squared plus 12x. And then we have plus 2, which is, we could say this is 2c2 e raised to 4x squared plus 12x. Now, what else we can do para makuha natong value of y? We can move ang atong negative 2 to the other side. So instead of negative 2, may mo siya og positive 2. Now, since we're doing this, we also need to move ang values of y to the left side para mauban ang like terms. So transpose natin sa pikas, we could say this is y minus yc2e raised to 4x squared plus 12x is equal to 2 plus 2c2e raised to 4x squared plus 12x. Now, kani, we could also say na we can remove the y and put it outside the equation. So we could also say this is y is equal to 1 minus c2e raised to 4x squared plus 12x. So with this, we could divide both terms by y1 plus 1 minus c2e raised to power 4x para makuha natong value of y. So this means we will get our value of y is equal to 2 plus 2c2 e raised to 4x squared plus 12x over 1 minus c2e raised to 4x squared plus 12x. Now, mao ni atong final answer sa general equation or general solution. But now that we got our general solution, we need to find the particular solution, which is ego na nato i-substitute ang value of C2. So we could say ang atong value of C2 is negative 3. So negative 3 times 2, that becomes, yeah, negative, this will become 2 minus 6, or ato siya i-doon. So we have 2 minus 6e raised to 4x squared plus 12. And then atong value of C2 dire kay negative 3. So then this will become positive 3e raised to 4x squared plus 12x. So with this will become our final answer for the particular solution. So yes, inani siya kataas ang atong solution page. So far, na mo'y questions or medyo nosebleed ba kamay?
Nosebleed pa, sir.
Giyon sa gali pagkuha ang sa ubos, sir. Kaning 1 plus 3e raised to 4x squared. Kaning lapit. Yes, sir. So, say pwede natin yung erase para i-elaborate lang gamay. So, erase natin eh. So, di ba mo itong equation na y is equal to yc2? So, i-transpose nato ang 2 ganina, and then ibalik ang atong yc2 e for x. So, before mo arrive ta sa aning equation, we could say na this is y minus yc2 e raised to 4x squared plus 12x is equal to 2 plus 2 C2e raised to 4x squared plus 12x. So, di ba, since natin y and y, pwede po natin ni siya i-gawas ang value of y. So, kung i-gawas na tong value y, kanina yun atong magkuha na new equation, which is y times 1 minus c2e raised to 4x squared plus 12x. So, para ang mobilan sa left side is only y, ato din i-divide both terms by 1 minus c2e raised to 4x squared plus 12x. So, mao na ini moabot siya dire. Nihimo lang din siya og plus 3 kay negative c2. Atong value of c2 is negative 3. So, negative times negative is positive. So, mukuha nato is 1 plus 3e raised to 4x squared plus 12x. So, gikan lang siya dire nga part na i-separate nato ang value of y and then gi-divide both terms by kaning nga value sa sulod. Nakuha ra or napumoy other questions? Okay, that's okay. So, namoy other questions or clarifications? Or taas lang gid ni siya? Giloy pa sir. Oh, so kung sa aton gi practice ang so good, medyo na level up na gid ta kay niabot na taog integration. So, what I can say, ang importance lang ani is, well, for other, let's say other courses, we can use these equations para makuha nato ang volume sa, let's say, sphere, ang rate at certain values, let's say rate of decay, which we'll be discussing later on. Daghan na siya practical values na gina-use sa other sciences, I guess, ang proper term. So like sa physics, chemistry, and then other engineering courses. Sa inyo na civil engineering, I don't think magamit ninyo ni kaayo. I think minor man is para sa inyo, di ba? Minor ni siya math. Sakto ba ko? Or gihimo nila ni major sa inyo?
Major, sir.
Major ni siya. Sige, so, lang, i-remember lang ninyo ning, ang pinaka-core lang gina ni guys is ang inyong strength sa pag-derive o integrate. Kana lang yun. Kaya once na may igor gid siya na dulaon ang equation until makuha ninyo ang murag final value. Pero again, under lang sa akong class, willing ko mo accept if wala pa mo na abot og ani na part. Pero as much as possible, muhatag igog full point if makaabot mo ani nga point na y is equal to a certain value. Or if lisod ko ako ng y, we could say x is equal to kaning day nga value. So, kara lang. Napo may questions before maghatag lang ko og break kadali? Or napo may clarifications pa? Sige, sige. So, maghatag lang sa ako break sa inyo kay I think medyo basta nalaba din yung ulo ani and then kaya lang taas lang gini ang mga topics. Kaya napatay other topics I cover. Pero I'll give you guys a break and then pagbalik ninyo is mag-seat work lang tag gamay. One item lang siya para ma-evaluate na ako if nakaya na ninyo para maka-proceed na sa next na topics. So, I'll give you guys a break para maka-dinner mo or para makapaulay ka dyan. And we can come back at si oras karon be 7:13. Let's say 7:45 and then we can have a seat work for mga 30 minutes kapin or let's say 1 hour. Depende sa oras.